welcome to our 164th episode of Guerrilla Radio. I'm Joe Caprino, and I have Mike here. He's on the mic again after being on the mic all weekend. So
finally got my voice back.
That's good.
Didn't have my voice on Sunday. Very little voice.
Yeah, no, that was a long 2 days of wrestling, intense 2 days of wrestling, and back at it. Team State coming up this week, and there's a lot going on, and no rest this week.
No, I mean, some of those teams rolling, a week and a week and a week. It's pretty tough. You roll Crown Point or Center Grove or Brownsburg, those guys wrestling, back to back to back, really tough. I mean, I guess Brownsburg kind of had like a triple duel this past week, so that's probably not as tough. But, I mean, the injuries, man, it'd be interesting to see like how some of those guys who got banged up, I mean, we were at Al Smith, so we kind of seen some of those guys getting banged up, how they recover, and if they're able to go for Saturday.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting. A couple guys got banged up, and, that can definitely greatly affect your team, especially when it's come down to Team State stuff. So, should be some real good wrestling at Team State. We'll recap some of the action at the holiday tournaments first. Mater Dei Classic. Mater Dei was second behind Floyd or Union County, Kentucky. Floyd Central third. Avon fourth. And then Perry Meridian fifth.
That's kind of an interesting result too. I was surprised Avon was so low.
Yeah, I don't know if I think they had everybody, at least their guns. They had Rio, Goals, Chef, Syra.
It was just, when I was looking at that, I thought that was kind of interesting to see where they fell at individually. Because, I mean, you assume they're a pretty strong individual team also.
Yeah, they have, they have pretty strong. I think Goals was fifth. That's probably a little bit below. I think that was a little bit of it. But, I mean, it's team scoring there is always, I mean, they were 23 points behind, 23 and a half behind Mater Dei. Which that's a lot. That's a champ. That literally is like one champ or one finalist. Basically a finalist. So that's usually how I try to calculate it. Like, they're finalists behind them. One pretty darn good wrestler. So, yeah, it's always interesting how that falls, the tournament-wise. It's always, at Al Smith, you're trying to figure out, the team scores, and you're seeing, wow, this team's up there really high. Then all of a sudden, especially midday, and then all of a sudden, they start dropping because of they have all their good guys at 150 and below, and then all these teams with better upper weights come through.
I think, that's kind of like you read it, like you try to read the scores, and like every 4 or 5 weights, so you can kind of get an idea.
Yeah. So, but a lot of Indiana teams there. Key results. Isaac Campbell was at 106. I know he beat Peyton Shutley. That was a good match at 106. Nate Rio over Caleb Schaefer.
I mean, probably 2 times. Both of them pretty close matches.
Yeah. So
that was a good weight. I thought 13 was a really good weight there.
Yeah, and you got Blake Getz, who was third, and Rai Leon was fourth there. So that's a real good weight class. Ty Henderson won at 120. Jaden Rainey over Isaiah Schaefer.
Kind of widened that gap, right? It was pretty tight last year.
Yeah, 9-0. And I know one of the Raineys was like a world champion in Greco. I don't know which one. Jordan Rainey.
Schaefer over Rio again in the semis.
Yeah. Jordan Rainey over Quentin Sheff by pin. Syra over Luke Thomas of Union County. Hunter Jenkins over Deacon Dressler at 144. Jenkins from Union County, Kentucky. They have a pretty solid team. I mean, they did pretty well. Tyler Vanover won 150. Bryce Griffin, two Illinois guys.
I know Hunter May ended up defaulting the second day, right?
Yes. So I don't know haven't heard anything. I guess I don't know if you've heard anything if it was an injury or
I think they said he was sick.
sick or yeah. There's been some sicknesses going on. I know some other teams were missing some guys due to that. So 165, Oliver Haylett over Zach Huckabee. Indian Creek.
Good win for Haylett.
Yeah, got a good win there. Spencer Turner was third. Bray Emrine over Lucas Ricketts, 3-2. That's a good win for Emrine. Lane Kaiser over Noah Terry. Kaiser's wrestled a ton of Indiana kids. He's wrestled IPO. So Noah Terry having a good season there. Landon Terry over Jordan Dale. And Carter Gulamare over Justin Brown from Floyd Central. So, nothing crazy, but some solid results there. It's good to have that mixture of Kentucky guys, some pretty good Kentucky teams. They do a good job bringing in some solid Kentucky teams, which I'm sure is not the easiest thing to do at times.
Oh yeah, and then we bring in an Illinois team, so definitely a good mix and some really good Indiana teams too.
Yeah, Connorsville. Not really too deep this year. Greenfield Central over New Pal and East Noble and Fishers. Bishop Chatard was fifth.
There wasn't that many ranked teams there, right? Like team wise.
No, only
not like it.
Two teams. Greenfield Central and New Pal, which Greenfield Central beat them 266 to 222. Not really too many big results. Heather Kroll won her second title, then went and won her regional. Braden Voles over Keelan Fuller. Jet McGuire over Blake Byerly.
It's probably a good match that you guys that's been in the rankings.
Yeah, as a sudden victory. Peyton Richards of Switzerland County. I think they were new there this year. They have some pretty good kids. We had a good article on them last year over Gunnar Butt as a good win for him. Chase Yant was at 126. He got third.
Yeah, that was a pretty good weight.
Yeah. Tylen Thrine over Cameron Bowles from Eastern Hancock, 5-1. Eastern Hancock, are they? I always get them mixed up if they are in what regional they're in. Because I think they've been switched.
That's a pretty good weight, too. Top 5 finishers there. Thrine, Volts, Jack Davis of Chatard, Jesus Aquino Morales of Union County, and Cole Vandergrift. Cole Vandergrift.
Yeah, that's good.
That's a good weight.
Yeah, the Eastern Hancock is in the Richmond Regional, so is Morales. So that's going to be a tough weight class out of that regional this year. That's going to be really tough. Those three guys are pretty solid, and two champs are going to have some real good. And Morales was a state qualifier last year, so yeah, that's a good one.
Man, one of the things I was the most disappointed was that they said this isn't a blind draw anymore. Now it's like kind of seeded.
Yeah, it was. So you didn't get the crazy match, crazy early matches. No more.
I know. I've seen a lot of criticism of some of the seeding stuff. I know, we're going on to 38. I know Hornsby and Whitehead were in the semis, 14-13 match.
Oh wow!
Pretty high scoring. A lot of points there.
Hornsby isn't afraid to score some points, is he?
No. Bustamante's tough. JJ Harlow was down a weight. Tyron Leonard's been in the rankings, so pretty good weight overall too there.
Yeah. Cameron Mikesell, Western Boone, over Gabriel McNamee from Chatard. Riley Biddle, East Noble, the Fighting Reasons, over Mason Adams, Western Boone. Cannon Zuber from Greenfield Central, third. Silas Foster, who's pretty good, over Benjamin Barker.
Yeah, he had a real good tournament there. I think he scored a lot of points.
Yeah, yes. He tech fall in the finals. He's going to be one to watch. Xavier Smith of Fishers.
I think it's a better weight for Foster too. I think he was kind of pulling. Obviously, I think he missed weight in the state tournament. Wrestling up probably more where he belongs at. I think that's a good spot for him.
Yeah, and he'll do some damage at 57. 175, Ben Fedorak from Valpo for Roy Thornsbury of Hagerstown. What do you say?
Said Fedorchak?
Fedorchak, yes. 190, Clay Gainan over Colin Whitesall, Greenfield Central over New Pal. And then 215, Sean Glass of New Pal over Tyson Rue. And heavyweight, DeGroat over...
Good win for Sean Glass. Tyson Rue had been wrestling really well.
Yeah.
It's a really good win.
Good to see it.
I don't know. I didn't know if Glass was out of the lineup for a little bit or not, but New Pal getting him back for Team State if he was out, it's a good pickup. He's going to be able to score a lot of points for those guys.
Yeah. Nelson said that they had a couple guys out too, so it'll be interesting seeing them come up. Obviously, they lost by about 40 points, so that's, you add those two guys in and you can make up some points pretty quickly. Yeah, good. I mean, it's 30. They had 31 teams, I think, this year. So, it's, you get 30 teams together. There's going to be some good matches.
Connersville, too. Connersville champ at 285, closing out the show.
Yes.
The hometown crowd. Let's go.
Yeah, that's good. Any other... It's kind of quick, but there wasn't a whole lot of crazy upsets or, craziness there. But they did seed it, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, but we'll offer our services if you ever need them.
Yeah, I like the idea that it was like a blind draw before, but I mean, probably better that they have some kind of seeding, right?
Yeah. Do we go on our rant about what the difference between seeding and rankings and predictions are?
Man. How long do you want the show to go?
Oh, yeah. That was a fun topic. I guess we should touch on it a little bit because people confuse them with all being one, and it's very interesting, and I think I did a good job of explaining it. I don't know if it's hard to explain, but at the same time, it's not that hard.
Yeah. I mean, I get it every year. Every year, like, I get someone telling me that my rankings were terrible, and I was like, bro, but my pick'ems are good. I don't know. I mean, it's not like, you try to make it unbiased. Yeah. And seeding, there has to be some kind of criteria. But, yeah. I mean, it's the same thing as the power poll, right? Like, we say that all the time.
Yeah.
The power poll gets the most, people, the power poll gets the most people to comment on it, and it's like, how did this happen? It's like, bro, it's literally just set up from points.
Yeah. There's no bias. There's no thinking into it. And Mike doesn't even know half the time what it will come out to. I know, like, a couple of years ago when Newcastle was pretty hot, there were 3 or 4 teams that were in the mix. I would always tell Holly, oh, wow, Carmel's in the lead this week. You're like, oh, geez, really? I must have been pretty high on them this week.
Dude, I have zero clue when that's happening.
Yeah.
Like, you'll tell me, I think this last time Center Grove jumped to Crown Point. I was like, oh, really?
Yeah. So that's.
And then I get the text. Oh man, you think Center Grove's gonna beat Crown Point? I didn't say that. It's just the way it falls. I have no clue.
Yeah. So that was predictions are pretty easy to explain. They are what we think. Usually those are a little bit more accurate because you can put in when you're doing your predictions. We can add in who's wrestling well right now, who has a tough schedule, and just a little bit of hunches that you get from being around the sport like we are. That's pretty simple. Seeding is a very closed resume. I mean, literally, seeding is matches from this year, past state tournament, for Al Smith, it's Al Smith performance and record. So it's basically 2 things. Two tournaments and what you've done this year. So it's pretty close. Like, someone was complaining that the number 2 ranked guy was seeded 6th. I'm like, he didn't have any criteria, unfortunately. And we're more than aware that he's pretty good. Like, obviously he's ranked number 2. Yeah.
But you also try to put it in a spot where it's not going to, like, in some of those cases, like, okay, like if we put him in the seat here, like at least he's gonna feed into somewhere where it's a little bit more. He's not drawing the number one seed right off the bat, and I think that's kind of what you want to do too. You don't want to
Yeah,
have the finals and the quarters, and I mean that happens sometimes, you know.
yeah. That happened. Drew Hughes freshman year. They didn't want to seed him because he was a freshman. He didn't have any criteria, and he ended up getting an eighth seed and just pinned his way through. And I bet that number one seed would have been like, I would have loved for him to be down in the bottom half.
Yeah,
You don't want to lose in the quarters like that and get pinned
no.
like he did. So yeah.
But you also have some people that are like, well, you got to beat everybody. Like, okay, cool, then draw it all out of a hat.
Yeah.
Save everyone the time on Thursday.
Yeah. No, I saved a lot of people time on Thursday.
Yeah.
Pretty smooth. They, and then rankings is as big of a resume as you can put together. Is main way of ranking those guys, and some of it's a little bit of a hunch, but you can go back to 10 years ago if you really want to, or last week. So and I think rankings are a little bit more of a what have you done for me lately type thing.
Oh yeah,
especially after this past week, there's going to be a lot of changes, and they're constantly fluid. The thing is, those are fluid. Those are 100% fluid. You're gonna do a ton of work into them this week, and this weekend's going to be crazy, and you're going to have to do some more adjustments. But I mean,
I thought I think we put them out pretty regularly. I don't know how anyone else does it, but I think our rankings are pretty like every week. Sometimes they're wrong, and I mean, if you message me, I'll tell you kind of what I was thinking or what I missed. It's not beneath me to say I messed up. I mess up all the time.
As you said, the good thing is, whether they're rankings or seeds or predictions, the kids get to prove it on the mat.
Yep. The thing I always tell Joe is, if it's wrong, don't tell me.
Yes. I'm gonna run them. We'll see if they're wrong.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's our little rant, and that was a very enlightening conversation to have. But it's I would. If Steve came to us and said, "Hey, just use your rankings and use your best judgment, seed it without and we could. I mean,
there'll still be upsets. I mean, it's still wrestling.
Yeah,
like there was things that we'll get there, but there's things that I saw there that surprised me. Yeah. Some that didn't surprise me, some that did. Like I'm sure we'll get there in a little bit. Because obviously, like that's gonna be a bigger portion of what we're gonna talk about because we were both there.
Yeah.
For both days.
So,
you want to do North Montgomery or Mooresville?
Let's do Mooresville. Does anyone know who won that? Because Delta and Terre Haute South were tied.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. After all that, they tied Ben Davis third, Yorktown impressive fourth. I think they're starting to get things back in the right. The train's back on the track and get going. Martinsville, Hamilton Southeastern. I know Monrovia has like 3 hammers down low.
Yeah, really good guys down low.
Yeah, so let's see results.
Really good one in the finals there, right off the bat.
Yeah. Boyd over Royce Malone. Good match for both of them to get kind of pushed early on like that.
I think that was like one of the ones that they were upset about, right? Like that like Malone was like a 7 seed or something.
Yeah. Well, we know people.
Yeah, that's tough. And obviously, if you're someone that hits him early, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he is. So
it's weird though. Like, I wonder what the criteria was because it's not like, well, he's a freshman, right? Because Jensen Boyd was 1.
Yeah, maybe the one that he would have been 9-1. So maybe
I know he had the one loss up at 13.
Yeah. So I don't know. The freshmen, or 106, 113 are always a pain to seed because their resumes are very limited to half a season, and you can't even say, well, they went to regional last year or whatever. So
yeah.
Those are always, and it's, that's never the easiest one. 113, Bollinger over Leonard, Gavin Ash third.
Keegan Dressler, those are 4 guys in the rankings. I heard that was a really good match, Bollinger and Leonard.
Yeah.
Leonard really tough. Came out of a real tough regional last year. freshman sophomore champ. That's a guy. He's done a ton of wrestling this summer.
Yeah, Martinsville's in. They're at Mooresville, right?
Oh, let's go, Nick.
I did pretty good at 106. I'll say that much for Hal Smith. That was a real good one. Martinsville's at Mooresville, right? Because you got Ash, and then you got
Yeah,
Dickman and Rio. Whew, that's tough.
yeah, dude, those are monster weights, man. I think. I mean, last year it was tough.
Yeah. Didn't all four make the semis?
Yeah, I'll form the semis.
I very much could. Well, I guess Bowling here was going to have something to say about that, but very close to something similar there. 120, Isaac Ash over Aiden Dallinger, Jaden Owsley of Corden. I got to use my southern accent. Corden Central.
That's a pretty good weight too. There's a lot of ranked guys in there.
Yeah.
Keith Jackson.
Luke Kirshner, Richard Rogers has some wins. I know Richard Rogers' name came up on seeding for some common opponents there. He was finished 7th. Neil Mosier over Peter Nguyen of Garen Catholic. Keith Parker over Josiah Dedu. Gage Clark.
Good weekend for Keith Parker. That's a pretty solid weight class.
Yeah, Caleb
Russell
Mattingly
up.
from Carmel was 5th. I mean, that tells you how deep that was. Sam Mosier, freshman, having a good season, was 7th. Yeah, that's a real deep weight class. Justin Boone from Yorktown over Lane Kirchner. Lane Falkenberg 3rd. Branson Weaver over Wyatt Hopus from Yorktown. Christopher Bond. I assume he's not the one eating. He's not eating the hot dogs, but and Moses Stevenson.
The hot dog review, man. It sounds like Mooresville's hot dog review is good.
Yeah, he got 8 slices of pizza out of 8.
Yeah, that's probably the best one of the year so far.
Yeah, that definitely they must have saw him coming. I'm sure they were like, we got to have a good hot dog. We see this guy coming. We're gonna we have this golden hot dog in in the special the warmer.
I think that they have the Lake County tournament, so he said he's running it back on Hanover Central.
Yeah, so Hanover Central, be ready. Moses Stevenson, I know he just got in the rankings this past week, I believe. I believe I had to create a profile for him.
Yeah, I had, and I spelled his first name wrong, so we got that corrected. I spelled his name wrong on the list.
Uh-oh. Did I fix it?
I don't know. They sent me a message. I don't know if I forwarded it to you or not.
Well, I will check real quick before we get too far. Zach Lang, Hamilton Southeastern, over Yario Ojeda Cortez of Carmel at 57. At 65, Cabe Stevens over Gage Eccles. Corey Bender, 3rd. And Jeremiah Casillas from Bloomington North, 4th. That's a good weight class.
They said Cape Stevens wrestling really well right now, 19-0 so far in the year.
Yeah.
I know that was like something that a lot of people said to me from Mooresville, like that he's just wrestling at a high level.
Oh, I do not have it updated, but I will update it right now. Not Moises? We do not want misspelled names. Yeah.
Cooper McCloy, Terrell South over Braxton Russell. That's a pretty good one. Noah Sumner, James Hastings in there, Leclerc. That's a good top 5 Russell returning medalist. So that's a good win for McCloy.
Yeah.
Especially heading into Team State, they're gonna want some momentum. The number 1 seed.
Yeah, that's a good one. McCloy was Kansas State qualifiers, so good win for him. They said that he was in their youth program for a while and then moved to Kansas.
Yeah.
Oh.
The wrestling scholar told me Indiana wrestling is far superior to Kansas wrestling.
That's good to know. Oh, there you are. You locked up for a second. Not that we kind of didn't, they're states we know we're probably better than. 190, Colin Cassad, Braxton Lewis of Braxton Lewis of Cascade. 215, Cole Chicoine Or Devin
Chicoine.
Chicoine.
Killing people, man. He looked good at the Harvest Classic, 34-second pin in the finals. Um, I thought he looked a lot better. I thought, like, when I looked last year, I thought he was like a big, strong, athletic kid. Now he's like kind of put a lot of technique together. It'll be exciting to see him and Clark come semi-state.
Yeah, that should be a good one. Let's see. Then Sean Murphy, Terre Haute South over Brandon Brewer, Northview at heavyweight. So got the most pins. Obviously, he was there. He wasn't getting paid by the hour if he's pinned him in 34 seconds.
Do they give an OW too? Who is the OW, Brandon? Brandon, our man on the scene.
So yeah, another good. I didn't realize that it's been 52 years with the Mooresville Holiday Classic, according to their header.
Terre Haute South closed strong, man. That's Casada's the OW, nice. Terre Haute South closed pretty strong, so that'll be once we get the team state stuff. He did go 6 with Bartowski at the Harvest. Bartowski wrestled really well too, because we're about to talk about nice segue to the North Montgomery tournament.
Yeah. So we'll go. Which one? Just the holiday tournament. We don't need to do the duel.
They just want to do the individual. I mean, they do it kind of cool, like where they do one day of duels and then they do individual.
Yeah, and I think New Haven won the duels, and did not win the. No, they got 5th in the tournament. Noblesville won the tournament, but I don't know if, like, I do not see.
Campo probably skated out.
Wrestled into the Doster. So, yeah, you lose those two. That's, I do not believe that's their heavyweight. So, yeah. So I mean, sometimes they kind of just take a day off there. It is what it is. So, final results.
Colby Robinson, champ at 106, 28-1 freshman, gonna get in the semi-state rankings. It's a pretty good win for him.
That's a good one. Carrington Cooper, New Haven. He has 8 losses. He's pretty solid. I mean, he's in a tough weight class, but I think he's been wrestling 20 a little bit too most of the time. So him dropping down, because Ocampo made
6. Yeah,
made 6.
I guess we didn't even touch on that, right?
What?
Ocampo made 6 this weekend.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Yeah, so Cooper down to 13. That'll be a good, pretty positive. He wrestled 20 pretty much this whole year. Timmy Rocha over Kenneth Sellers. Ezra Fye of Alexandria was 3rd. Max Bowers, Pendleton Heights over Josh Kozlik of Noblesville.
Undefeated Max Bauer. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Being undefeated this deep in the season is pretty impressive.
Yeah. Isaac Kuhn, Hamilton Heights over Alex Heineman. Evan Smith, North Central over Luke Chastain. Jack Todd over Avery Stanley. O'Shea Phillips of Centerville. How many Phillips do they have on their teams?
I know, man. I feel like do they have another one? They got to keep it going.
Yeah.
If your last name's they're going to need you at Centerville.
Yeah, Jalen Pugh of Hamilton Heights. I know he's spent some time in semi-state and state rankings. That's a pretty solid weight class. Aiden Elkins over Simon Kuhn. Carson Fedig over Javon Frost, Lars Hughes, and Isaac Amstutz at 157. Another transfer from way out of state, Isaac Sinks over Mike of Lafayette of Harrison over Michael Kane. Sinks,
undefeated. Isaac Sinks.
Yeah,
he's also from Kansas, right?
I think so. I'm gonna say something like
Dude, I had it with me at Al Smith, man. I had the soap for you too, Eric. I'm riding around with laundry soap in my car, man.
Smells good, at least.
I know.
Carter Richardson, state qualifier last year, was 3rd there. Ethan Pop of Harrison over Gage Gully.
That's a good final. Yeah. Gage Gully's had some really good wins this year, too.
Pop's undefeated, too. Chris Crank of Pendleton Heights over Noah O'Brien Harrison. Jaden Bartzazek of Hanover Central over Ethan Libler. And then heavyweight.
I felt like Jaden's had like basically wrestled everyone at the semi-state.
Yeah, that's always a good
I
one.
think yeah.
So, Colin Foy of Hanover Central over Austin Hastings. Hastings was a qualifier last year.
California's a big boy, man. He's a big kid.
Let's see. I want to see what the weight results were. I assume that those other guys all wrestled the day before. Yeah, Campo was 5-0 at 106. Actually, both of Campos were not there. So Isabel was at 13, went 5-0, and Cooper that's interesting. Cooper went down he wrestled 20 the day before. And Doster was there. I was gonna see I did not see Kincaid. Was he there?
What? I don't know. I didn't see that either. Noblesville?
57 the day before. I went undefeated. So,
Yeah, kind of a weird thing with the duels one day and then next day individual.
yeah. You see a lot of rematches. There were, how many teams are there? There were 16 teams. You get enough of the rematch. I mean, you're wrestling 5 of them, so you're not guaranteed rematches, but you never know what, it's kind of it's an interesting way to run it, and, obviously the teams get good matches, and you get to see different competition. So, any other ones before we did Mooresville? So, Al Smith.
Yeah. Pretty good. I mean, had a pretty good CD meeting, had a pretty good announcer.
Yep. After that, the rest is gravy, right?
Yeah. I mean, you get the big stuff taken care of, right?
Yeah. You got the CD meeting was 45 minutes, and probably could have been a little bit less. But it was a real good. Very few arguments. Most of them were very minimal. Of we beat this guy. Just random wins and losses. Not based on records. And there are some people that were like, "Oh, we could have." Especially the top 5, 6 seeds. Very little changes. I think there was 2 changes where like a 7 moved up to a 6 and they switched. But
That's what I was thinking, Eric. I appreciate that.
yeah, Mike did a great job announcing, adding. The one thing I like is that you're adding little things like, hey, one of the seating misses was Terry Easley, and who was he was he wrestling? He was wrestling
Landon Hawkins
Hawkins
first match.
on, yeah. And it's like, geez, of all matches, you get the draw. 6 unseeded guys made second day. Let me see if I can pull up my my list of who didn't make it. And there were, excuses are don't listen.
Dude, talking for 7 hours, not the easiest.
Yeah. Trying to keep it, where did the seeding stuff go? Al Smith predictions and analysis. Yeah. And let's see, where'd my seed? Yeah, 6 seeds that weren't seeded. Highest was 4th place. I believe that was at 190. I'm going to guess.
Yeah. Keith Miller.
Keith Miller. Congrats to him. Let's see, where's my... I'm looking it up.
Mikey Ortega and Terry Easley. Both guys I thought could have been seated. I know we kind of talked about it. They kind of fell back on some technicality, like one guy didn't wrestle that had a win, and both incredibly tough. Both really tough.
None of the unseeded guys made the semis, which was, pretty. The top 4 or 5 guys in each weight are pretty solid. Easily missed out a seed by less than 1%, mainly because he would have had a seed. Aiden Campbell, he had a common opponent over him, and Campbell didn't wrestle.
Yeah.
And then
I think Center Grove said that a bunch of their guys were dealing with sickness that week.
Yeah. Ortega lost out by half or 2%. Emilio Tirado from Lake Central.
Really good tournament for Emilio Tirado.
Yeah.
Really good tournament for Emilio.
Yeah, he didn't have a record that was even close. He took out number 5 and number 12 to get to the quarters. So
sometimes Lake Central generally has guys that do pretty well. That they'll show up. They'll usually put a guy in the semis,
Mhm.
just randomly, like maybe a guy with like 6 or 7 losses, and they'll make a run to the semis.
Yeah. Um, Keith Miller, as we said, I think he ended up fourth. He was 6-1. Probably would have been seeded if he had more matches. Kind of cut off the seeding percent, the winning percentage after 10 matches, just because 6-1, you don't know what that is, and obviously didn't have any common opponent wins. Colin McMahon from Columbus East is at 190. He was 10-5. Um, like Lake Central, you got like Columbus East always has some good big guys, and that's probably not surprising considering the schedule they wrestled.
Oh yeah,
And then the Malachi Evans from Penn at 215. Looks like a younger version of me.
yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Man, that's how Joe looks.
If I take my shirt off, yes, that's pretty much what he looks like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's pretty good. I asked Harper, he's like, yeah, we've been kind of hiding him out and keeping him on the low, and he's pretty good.
yeah. I don't know how you hide that kid. He is jacked.
Yeah,
So yeah, he would have been seeded, but he also head to head with a 12 seed. I think he was one that there was one weight. It wasn't that weight, but it was another one where like the 9 seed. Someone said they beat him, then someone beat that guy, so that 9 seed ends up barely making like a 12. So yeah, but that's how it is. But I think the seeds went pretty well. Definitely,
yeah, that's also what Coach Harper said. But they have a pretty good 190, so it's tough.
yeah. Well, he wasn't there. He was in the sun playing. So to the brackets. I just had it up too. Mason Jones over Talon Jessup at 106. Good, solid weight class. 106 top to bottom.
Yeah, really good.
You know,
Shout out to Cole Carp from Jimtown too.
oh yeah, he made his way to the. He got eighth. Made his way.
Was he the only Jimmy that placed?
Yes, yes. They seeded 12. We seeded 12 this year, the second year, which makes life a lot easier. A little less arguing for seeds, and people. I think it's worked out pretty well. Even though I think only one 12 seed place, but it gets that separation. And I'll tell you, those quarterfinals on Friday night were intense. I don't remember a quarterfinals that intense, and there's some good matches, comebacks, everything. It was pretty good. Couple hours of wrestling right there.
Hang on one second, we'll grab a water. You keep going. I'll be right back.
So 106, Jones over Jessup. Third, Bismeyer over Thrasher. Real good weight class. Shantia over McCartney for fifth, and then Newell over Carper. 113, battle of freshmen. 3 freshmen in the semifinals, along with you had Swarthwood of Garrett and Gavin Lewis in the top semi. Then Brady Harper and Connor Bayless in the other semifinals. So Lewis and Harper. Lewis 3-1 over Harper in the finals. So
that Lewis and Swarthwood match was pretty wild.
For the minute,
and they both were on their back. Yeah. For a minute 28 of wrestling, they were both on their back for a long time.
Yeah.
But that was a really exciting match. 106. I'm sorry, I walked away. I thought Jones looked really good. I thought he wrestled well all weekend.
Yeah, he did. He did.
One of the nicest kids there too, man. Super nice kid.
Yeah, look forward to him. He pretty, just dominating 9-1, 17-4, 10-4, and nothing real close. And he's definitely a contender for a title this year. That's for sure. 113, Lewis over Harper. See, Harper was a 6 seed and Lewis was a 4 seed, so we weren't too bad there. So
and a handful of freshmen. And Harper had a loss to Owen Button. But the 3 guys in the semis were freshmen, which is pretty good there. And we'll kind of talk about it in the next weight. Like, it's pretty rare to get a lot of freshmen winning it.
Yeah. 120, this was a real good weight class. Yeah, semifinal, first big upset, Seth Auburn over Charlie LaRocca, 7-4. And then we got a surprise when the seeds came out. Tanner Tishner had made his way down to 120, so he threw his hat in the ring there. And then Kevin Gendris over Tishner, 5-1. And then Gendris
looked really good.
Yeah, looked real good there. So yeah,
I mean, he had 1, 2, 3 tech falls under 5 minutes. Pretty good.
Yeah, and 5-1 win in the semis over Tishner, who has a couple state medals. Some good match. I mean, just a lot of good matches early on, especially the Kuros Cameron Baker match was real good. Kuros reversed; they lost from him. Earlier in the year.
Kuros looked good. Another tough freshman. His brother was pretty good. I could see. I'm glad his dad's back around. His dad's a good dude. Get him back in the wrestling scene.
Yeah. Let's see. LaRocca finished third over Tishner, 4-2. Kite over Kuros, and then Woods and Temples, 126. The aforementioned 6th seed Landon Hawkins won it. Had some close matches. First round easily 7-1, a pin, 7-2 over Eli Brody, and then 5-3. Really good match with Dom Brown. And then then
that was like last second reversal and near fall, right?
Yeah.
Don Brown had got like a takedown. I mean, I'm sure it's on the timing of it. I think he got a takedown late, and it looked like it was gonna be Don Brown's to win. He got a takedown with 33 seconds left to go, and then Landon got a reversal and 2 near fall, like 2 seconds left.
Yeah, that was crazy. Some good pictures of just the ending and everything. You can tell. So you had Dylan Bennett was. What did he finish? He finished 5th. You had Brown over Brody for 3rd. Yeah, good. I mean, obviously all these weights are pretty good. So
Terry easily unseated, making his way to the stand.
Yeah.
Tough loss in that Maldonado match. I mean, 7th, 8th place. Both those guys are gonna be better at the end. Got banged for a stalling in overtime. I mean, I think that's always a tough call.
Yeah, Gage Rutan of Columbus East had a good tournament, finishing 6th. He beat Easley there. Easley made the scenic route back. He definitely wanted to get all the matches in, and that was tough. He won over Daniel Mata in the blood round, 3-2. That takes a little bit more than just some wrestling skill, knowing you're gonna have a tough first round match, and then you're gonna have to battle your way back.
Yeah.
So
that wrestle back's no joke.
No. 132. Pretty fun little final. Mike didn't even see some of it because he was reading.
Yeah, so I thought I mistakenly said something because you're like focusing on reading. You want to get everyone's finalist stuff, and I hear everyone going crazy, and I'm like, man, I didn't know what was going on. And then I look up, and those dudes are nose to nose, like in the middle of the mat.
Yeah, they were getting after it. I don't know what was said. I don't know what was. I mean, it was like it looked like it was kind of joking at first, and then it started getting like, okay, they aren't just joking. So I don't know if there's a. I don't know if there is a rival, if there's something between them, but yeah, that was very interesting to see, especially and at the end of the match, you got a little chippy.
A little chippy at the end. Great job by Coach Littell and those guys to get Goss out of there. Yeah. You don't want him to get hit and lose him for a week.
Yeah, lose him for a big week here. So, DeMarco looked really good. On top of that, he looked really good.
Man, I mean, it wasn't as AJ Ferrarius and there was many punches.
Yeah,
and no one did
that was many punches.
But it was definitely, they definitely brought like an excitement, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Brought some attention to the match, and that's cool. No, they didn't. Neither of them did the splits. Neither of them did the new soldier salute.
The only thing that I was like that was sad about that is I was like still reading the back to the genders thing. I'll go back to that too because I was still reading the 26 placers, and they started the match before we even got through it.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to give a little bit more, like, but they're like already 30 seconds into the match by the time we're done. Like I don't know, I just felt that was kind of weird, you know. Like let the guys that just medaled in probably one of the toughest individual tournaments in the state, get their due and then start the match.
Yeah.
Gendra's only the 21st three-time champion at the Al Smith. The last two were Crown Point wrestlers, so
that's pretty.
He'll have a chance to go for 4 next year.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty impressive. I mean, and the tournament's not going to be any easier, so and that's pretty impressive to rattle off just a couple right now at this point. 130. Are we done with 132?
Is that breaking news? Homestead at Al Smith?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything. 132. Guerrero Rivera over Fielden for third. Sonny Sessa over Vargo.
Guillermo wrestled really well.
Yeah, that's just a deep weight class. Ty Linzer over McGill from Hobart. As another just weight class that's just super deep. Good freshman Vargo. He battled. He had a real good match with DeMarco. I know they had wrestled previously a couple years ago, so that was pretty good. Fielden made the semis, beat Linzer 6-0, which is a good win there.
Texas Jennifer. Yeah, I thought Sonny wrestled really well. He kind of had a tough go. He had a real tough match. Start off with Donald
Warren Brown.
Yeah, Warren Brown, close match, and then he wrestled Donald Bowie of Warren Central. Got like a late stall to tie it up, and then Sonny got a takedown. Closed the distance on Rivera, who had beat him, I think, 5-1 earlier in the year. Then they got a rematch of last year's Friday night with Fielden. Fielden 5-2 there, and then beat Vargo. But Fielden wrestled really well. I thought Rivera wrestled really, really well.
Yeah. That was a good weight. That was one of those weights that you wanted to. It kind of almost shook out pretty much how you would have thought it would, but still a lot of really good matches and some of those matches you wanted to see. I mean, I was kind of excited for the Vargo DeMarco match. Vargo was a tough freshman, and he's gonna keep getting better. He's fun to watch. He doesn't hold back. He's not afraid to try something, and he does not wrestle like a pen wrestler. I'll say that. So
we should petition Steve to get DeMarco back next year. So we get DeMarco next year. He was a runner-up as a sophomore, champ last year, and probably one of the more exciting finals with Walker. Last second reversal near fall for him, and then he brought the heat this year with Gas. I think we could probably get DeMarco one more try. Let's go.
Yeah. So 138, real big upset in the finals.
Do you think it was 1-2?
Not big upset, but big match in the finals. Shepard over Laval 6-4. I thought that was overtime. Am I wrong?
No, it was not. You got to take down late.
Okay, maybe it was, okay. So, yeah, that was it was 4-4, and Shepard got a late takedown. Very close. I mean, it was a bang thing. You gotta, people complain about the refs and stuff. I heard coaches complaining, and a lot of tough matches. You got to make some tough calls, and you're not gonna. Half the time, you're not gonna be happy with them.
Yeah.
I don't. It's the difference between the first and fifth, sixth guys here is pretty small, and it might be a stall call. It might be, and these guys do call that area does call stalling a little bit different. So that's one thing I always liked as a coach is going over to different areas and seeing how those groups of refs call things, especially stalling, fleeing the mat, anything. Just know kind of what their kind of quirks are, and you can use that, when you see them at semi-state and state, and like, hey, I know this guy's gonna, so I gotta be a little more active, or it helps tremendously knowing that there's some discrepancy in the reffing in different areas, and some refs there didn't like tough wrestling. We won't mention any names.
um,
But I mean,
yeah,
it's one of those things. They're tough calls and they're tough, close matches, and I don't want to be the old. Don't leave it in the ref's hands. They're gonna have to make a call, and it's not gonna be popular.
I thought that match really lived up to the kind of lived up to the billing of 1 and 2. Kyrell obviously incredibly tough. I mean, I'm sure that Crown Point knew that was gonna be a tough matchup. He looked bigger than Shep. I thought that was just a really good overall match. There was some back and forth. I thought that was there was a couple close calls here or there, but I mean, at the end of the day, I thought that was a really good, just overall good match. I thought Shep really kind of. I think Wesley Smith is really good. I think Wesley Smith's probably one of my favorite guys from Plymouth, and Shep pinned him in 332 in the semis to set that match up. Back-to-back weeks, Shep beat Ison and then beat Lavelle, so 138 is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, and then might be able to run those back this week.
Yeah. Pretty exciting weight overall, but like those guys that was definitely one I circled when it was going in there, and I'm happy. Kyrell looked pretty happy on the stand, probably the most happy guy to be second there.
Yeah.
So he's probably got an idea that he's probably going to run that back.
Yeah, no, I think just hearing some of the Warren coaches talk about, hey, we're, I think easily it's like, hey, we came here for these matches, we're not gonna, we obviously you don't want to wrestle them first round, but at the same time, you're going there for those matches, and at the end of the day, having a couple losses on your record doesn't affect you if you're ready to roll when it comes to this sectional or regional. Having those matches underneath your belt help you a lot more than wrestling a bunch of turds, to say the least. So
yeah. Shep also went tech fall in 332, tech fall in 231, tech fall in 334, a fall of Wesley Smith, who, like I said, I'm probably the biggest Wesley Smith fan in the state. And then beat Lavelle, former state champ, a third, 6'4", who's already signed to go to the Citadel.
Yeah. I believe the Smiths have a sister or daughter, that's wrestling too. So I saw their dad posted something like, oh, she had a last name Smith and she had heavy hands, so.
Yeah, they those guys, I would say those guys like hard wrestling.
They are not Troy Hahn.
No, those guys go hard.
Yes, they do.
Kendi Coy, he looked pretty good. I got to hang out with the General a little bit. Me and the General kicking it this weekend.
New BFFs. I think.
Yeah. They were going to get tattoos.
You guys can move into it. Is he moving to the region? I heard he's moving to the region.
Hey, we always need more hype men in the region, bro. Kirkpatrick, Columbus East, a real good tournament. Saez over McGinley in the blood round. Vander Legarin over Dews. So Panther for life. That was a good weight class.
Yeah.
But I think 1 and 2 were obviously distance themselves.
So 144, another real good, another great weight. Brees Courtney in overtime over Christian.
Wow, match. Wow, match, right?
Yeah, yes. That was a stall call there. Like I said, you gotta, tough close matches. It's tough. It's not an easy thing. But I mean, I don't want to say. I mean, it's one of those things that you're gonna get tough calls. I've known that ref for a while. I know his mannerisms. I know how he calls stalling. I was not surprised by it. I mean, I'll just say that. But
good for Coach O'Neill. Yeah. So if you guys haven't seen the match, it's on Mishawaka's YouTube page. You can go back and watch all the matches. Hear me in the background. I'm not on the mic. You can hear me on the background mic. Chris Vargo's not a fan. But so it was the 2:30 seconds. Courtney gets an escape and then they get hit for a stall, which gives them the point to make it 3-2, and then they stop the match. Arbery runs off. Coach O'Neill was right there. He went to the table. He wasn't in the chair. I believe he got hit for misconduct, which I'm I don't think he cares at that point. Was like, hey, we finished that last 10 seconds, And for that, like, good for them that they let him come back. I thought they were gonna just say no. He left the arena. He came back. I watched the video a couple times. I think it's pretty cool. When he comes back, the whole like place erupts.
Yeah. Yes. It
And then like the next thing, as soon as they blow the whistle, they're like shoot. Everyone's like shoot. It's a pretty wild scene. Courtney holds on for the win. And guess what? They get to run that back first match at Team State.
Yeah. So
Possibly.
I mean, and that's good. I mean, it's a tough call. You don't want to see a match end like that. You got to make. I'll say the refs in that area aren't afraid to make bold calls, and you got to be ready for it. It's one of those things. Tough matches, close matches. I hate to see those matches go to the coin flip, and that's what it is. So, and there's even
As a side
Coach
note,
Gill saying we got to do more, and I'm sure they're going to do a lot more this on Saturday. So
Christian Arbery got his money's worth.
Yeah,
he beat Mikey Ortega 3-2 in a really tight match. Beat Marlon Kirksley 5-4 in overtime, ultimate tiebreakers. Beat Zara Walker in overtime, threw him to his back and pinned him, and then wrestled overtime with Courtney. So he definitely he might have been getting paid by the hour. We say everyone doesn't get paid by the hour.
He's getting paid.
He's really good. That was a good weight. The top four there all had medals.
Yeah.
Returning medals. Zara Walker, Dylan Graham got a little heated on the end too.
Yeah, they did. That was a 2-1 match. Two guys state medals. Ortega, he was unseeded, made his way through there. What did he come in? His record was he was 21-5, so he was right outside getting seeded.
Yeah, he had 3 losses. He lost. He lost to Shepard. Shepard bumped up against Portage and beat him. He lost to Jalen Lewis. He bumped up Jaden Lewis and then he lost to a Franklin kid. So 3 pretty good losses.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I guess we could touch on that too. I mean, even though Mr. Walker paid me, I'll talk about that one. That was a wild match too. Tough break for Wyatt Cooksey. Walker Cooksey 13-14. I mean, I wasn't right there, but it looked tight.
Yeah,
I would be willing to bet if Zara was there, I'd be willing to say it looked pretty tight.
Yeah,
I seen him get a tiger bomb on his neck the next day.
Yeah, that was a wild match.
I always say like one of the wildest things was when Mendez got headlocked in the finals. We seen him that night, and he was with Kuntz, who headlocked him, and he had this huge like hickey on the back of his neck where like all the blood was at. He's like, it was so tight. I don't know how he got out of it. And then Cooksey turns around, draws Mikey Ortega, and Mikey Ortega beats him 11-4. But I'm sure it's like a tough. Like you think that you just pin a guy that's a returning runner up there, Michigan commit, and then you go and wrestle a guy that's hungry, man. Mikey Ortega wrestled really well.
Ortega's making a run through the backside, and he's on he's rolling, and you just lost a heartbreaker. Yeah, that was tough. That's another just deep weight class. Up and down the lineup. Real good.
Yeah, Haywood, Kirksey, Ortega, Walker. That's a good one.
Yeah. 150.
Man, Mikey Ortega, if you want to go see like some wild like videos, go check out Mikey Ortega and his dad's like lifting videos. Those dudes are strong. Mike Ortega Sr., that dude is putting in work.
Nice. Maybe Vargo needs to go do that. Get in the weight room so he can get out of that medium T-shirt. Man.
I seen someone sent me it wasn't, I mean, Josh Cooks. Dude, that 13-14. No, I mean, that doesn't obviously miss the place, but that match was wild, man. That was such a wild match.
Yeah, I mean that was exactly like I said. I mean, just the intensity of those quarterfinals, and I mean, wild. That was just a wild match, and people were going crazy, and it was a lot. I mean, I remember it getting intense, but never for the quarters like that.
No. 150. Wyatt Creech is really good at wrestling.
Yeah. He was there and murdering people this year.
He was there taking care of business. He was rocking the polo.
Yes, yeah. He business casual, as he said.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. Man, I know we're about to do the pound for pound. I was supposed to do it last week, so that's on me, guys. But man, he has to be right up there, like in the mix, like in the top part of that. He looks really good.
Yeah. He, yeah, fall. His closest match was a major in the quarters. So congrats to Tyler Lavin surviving
Yeah,
6 minutes with him. So yeah, he
probably cost him the most falls in the least amount of time, right?
uh, well no, because he had a
I
tech
mean,
fall because because you're not gonna pin Caden Smith. He will not
no,
let you do
Case
it.
is tough too, man.
Yeah, yeah. You got
And Frazier beat him 18-2.
yeah. Yeah, he pins Wesley Harper a couple times state qualifier in the finals. You had just another deep weight class, another Hagwood, Smith, Cruz, Nate Anderson, Kasperzik, Smith over Cruz for third.
That Kasperzik and Harper match was weird, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm still trying to like. So, did he choose? He cut him, and then he chose Top to cut him again.
So yeah, and I don't know which order it was. No, yeah. So Harper had choice in the first tiebreaker. He chose bottom, and so then he cut him. He's like, I'm gonna go neutral, and then so he gave him a point, and then I don't know why they, but then he wanted to go new. He was like, because in college in those tiebreakers you can go neutral, and he was like, go neutral, go neutral. And they're like, you can't go neutral. You either go top or bottom. So then they're like, top.
Top, and then let
And
him.
they cut him. So I don't think that score is exactly correct, but it was, yeah, it was
It
really
was
weird.
weird.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know if there was, and yeah, that was really weird. Yeah,
Good match.
yeah,
Good match, though.
yeah, weird way to end it. So, but yeah, then let's see, Hagwood got fifth. Danny Moon from Warsaw
Danny
was
Moon.
seventh.
Yeah,
Okay.
congrats.
I always think of we choose down, then they choose.
Yeah,
Top. Yeah, that's
little different strategy.
yeah, that's bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah. Smith over Kasperzak. The Smith and Cruz match was weird too, man.
Yeah, yeah, they got into what I mean. They broke, and the Smiths wrestle hard. There's no question. I don't know if you guys have heard us say that once or twice.
I mean, it wasn't dirty. It wasn't like he just was like turned around and was like, all right, cool, man. Let's get back together.
Yeah, looked like Cruz was kind of off balance and kind of lowered his head, and they bonked heads. And the ref originally called it an illegal headbutt.
Because he went out. He was out, man.
Yeah. So either way, I don't think it wasn't egregious. It wasn't on purpose. It wasn't, he was just wrestling hard, and that happens.
Yeah.
And that happens when you do a mat return and someone gets hurt. That happens, 1,000 times in wrestling. I'm not against either of those being if that's a point, it's a point. The kid wasn't doing it maliciously. It's not going to affect them really that much. Right now they're not getting kicked out of the tournament. But then the ref walked it back and said, nah, that wasn't an illegal headbutt, which I don't like that. I did not like that part. If it's, I don't think as long as it's not getting kicked out, I'm fine with either one.
I think the time is wrong on that too. I thought there was a third period. I thought there was like 5:59. It says 2:59, but I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, Cruz had a tough. He was dealing with some stuff, man. He spent a lot of time at the trainer's table. I know he was battling some injuries. I think his knee injury. He was getting like some blood pressure stuff done. Then Smith had beat him earlier in the tournament on the last second takedown, and he's about to pull that out. I'm almost positive it was 5:59.
Yeah, you might be right there. I'm pretty positive.
They say it was their gut. I thought it was.
I guess you can go look. Let's see, it's 150.
It says 2:59 on there, but I thought it was right at the end.
We'll see if there's
because obviously my timing might have been off because Frazier had already kind of walked through the tournament.
Yeah, so no, it was unless they totally skipped a period on the thing. So yeah. It seemed like
It looked pretty bad. Those dudes wrestle hard. So if you do wrestle the Smith brothers, be aware that they're and it sounds like their sister. Those guys are gonna come out there and wrestle you hard.
Yes.
Be prepared.
Yeah.
Second period. Thank you, Josh.
So yeah, another good deep weight class, and some good, crews, over Lavin 4-0 in the blood round. So
they wrestled really well too.
Yeah. So 157.
He did not wrestle Joe this weekend.
What did you say?
He did not wrestle Joe this weekend.
No, he did not. I saw him at the trainer's table too much. I didn't want to add any more.
Great job by the trainers too. They did a really good job.
Yeah, that's a fun stuff to deal with them. 157, and another great weight class. Would start with Betts, Brabant,
How he did.
Cashman.
I thought that's what came in late, Joe.
Joe Clark coming in. Hey, he knows how to be fashionably late. He knows when he needs to come in here. We're at 157. We're just gonna get warmed up for him.
That's why he gets to go to brunch, man.
Yeah. So, 157 probably one of the deeper weight classes. Six seeds sitting there at top six guys have been to state, so that tells you how deep it is. And a lot of great matches, a lot of great quarter matches. Palat over Silas Stitz in overtime in the quarters, 5-4. Cashman over Van Tichel. Mitchell Betts comes in as the number one ranked guy and did not leave number one ranked guy.
Nope. Really good match by Aiden Pellet. That was a really good match. That was like right on mat number one.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Betts looks big though for 57.
Yeah, he did.
And talking to the Maryville guys, they're like, "Man, what are we doing wrong? Because we look like we're the small guys out here."
Maybe you need the Ortega workout plan.
I know.
Yeah, so that's just a good weight class. Brabender over Cashman. Brabender looked real good this weekend. Really, really starting to kind of push forward. His last push, 10-3 over a really good Cashman who's had some really good wins this year. Then going down, Betts over Stitz for third. Cashman over Van Tichel for fifth, and then one of the Coopers over Keelan Russell. Snyder over Cooper for seventh. So
there's Lincoln, the freshman, Lincoln Cooper.
Yeah, so some good blood round matches. Cooper over Brandon Whitcar from Elkhart, and then so that was one of the better ticket round matches. Just a loaded weight. Betts over Van Tichel on the backside. Stitz over Cashman 5-4. So that's just a brutal weight class. There's no easy way to go out that way.
No, that was a really good weight. Next weight was pretty good too.
Yeah, 165. That was a fun one at the seating meeting. Really good. Just another good weight class. You had Kressel, Myers, Reinhardt were the top three. Raudebusch, pretty good.
Rowdy Bush, man. His dad came down and told me, "Hey, if you have an awesome name, and I appreciate it, Rowdy Bush." He said like Rowdy Bush.
Rowdy E. Bush. They're adding the emphasis on the E. I like it. Rowdy E. Bush. Hey, you gotta run with that one.
That's what I told Banks too. They're like, it's Chantea. I said, man, you should tell me that from day one, man. I'd have bring this thing down.
Rowdy Bush. Kressel needed a late takedown on him. Kind of was thwarted with trying to score some points in that match and got a late takedown. Reinhardt over Myers 5-0 in the semis. Some good, quarterfinals. All those guys. Myers had to ride out Marquise Young of South Bend Riley to make the semis. So tells you how deep that weight class was.
I think they wrestled earlier this year too, right?
Yeah, in a pretty close match. Rowdy Bush over Myers for third. Myers in an ultimate victory over Will Kennedy in the consolations, and then Kennedy over Mavros Young over Tirado from Lake Central for 7th. Yeah, like I said, I mean, just a deep weight class. The finals, Reinhardt over Kressel 1-0. Got the escape, rode him out. Not much else to say about that match.
Yeah, Kressel close on a couple takedowns, but Reinhardt got the escape, and he's really good in top.
Yeah.
He was OW last year. Pretty good with the legs. I thought he was pretty close to a couple turns, a couple deep power halves. If they wrestle again, I'd be interested to see if they go underneath them. I mean, I thought they were going to go neutral. I mean, it's not like they hadn't seen Zion when he was at Zionsville, right? He's pretty good on top then too.
Yeah. So I mean, it's one of those
better to
things
see it now.
Yeah, and I was kind of there was a couple times where some guys are similar. I mean, I don't think it was Reinhardt, but it might have been some of those positions where you're going to see a guy. You go back. I can't go back and forth. And the coach and me saying like, well, maybe they should just go for the win and go neutral. But at the same time, is this the end all be all? No. If this is state finals, you go neutral. They're probably more likely to go neutral without seeing him. Now they kind of see they can work on some things. Know that if they do get that position, that they can, what they need to do. But also like, hey, we might just go neutral now. Getting that feel to say, okay, yeah, he is really that good on top. I don't want to waste time down there. I don't want to, I might be able to get out, but it's going to be a 1 minute, 1.5 minutes of just fighting my butt off and using all my energy to get out. So
I believe he had a stall warning too. Yeah, he had a stall warning. I mean, you're building for the state championship. I mean, no state championships were won or lost today.
Yeah. So,
but
the OW, I don't know who got it.
They give it to the wrestler, the champ with the most falls in the least amount of time. And it came down to Hayden DeMarco and Paul Clark. And I think Hayden DeMarco beat Paul Clark out by a small margin.
Okay. I left as soon as the heavyweights were over because I had a long weekend and wasn't feeling the best. So, 190, Thomas Pinola over...
Did we skip 175?
Oh, 75. Sorry. Oops. I was... Yeah.
Another number one. I mean, another number one falling in the semis.
Yes. You got another, great weight class. You had a lot of guys with state experience there. Quarters and semis were crazy. Let's see. Semifinals, Chase Leach and Garrett over Brent and Russell. 8-5.
Who was number one before going into the week, before we found out Landon Klauser had certified at 170?
And Landon Klauser and...
Noah Klauser, I'm sorry, Noah.
No, Noah, yeah. What do you say? Yeah, Noah Klauser.
Landon's
the dad, right?
I believe so.
You had Costello and Noah Klauser in the semis, and real close match. Klauser ended up getting hurt late in the match, and he ended up defaulting, but that was a real good one. Klauser was the number one ranked guy. He was third seed based on criteria, and real good match. He had a tough one with Matt Levitz, and then in the quarters, Leach over Cameron Crisp in the quarters too. Another good one. Leach ends up beating Russell, who was the former number one, and then Costello over Leach in the finals. So yeah, it's real good, just real good weight class.
Russell was trying to get that most falls in the least amount of times too. He went 46, 2 minutes, 111, ended up losing to Leach. Goes on the backside, 25 and 13.
Ooh, yeah, he probably did have the most falls in the least amount of time. But yeah,
he was not getting paid by the hour.
No. So hopefully Klauser's able to wrestle this week at close to full capacity. That'd be a tough blow if he can't. And I know he's had some injuries before, so that's always scary.
I believe he had an off-season knee surgery, so I mean, never easy, but he's a tough kid.
Yeah. So Xavier Palacios from Belmont was 5th. Matt Levitz over King.
Austin King.
from Northwood. So Northwood came.
Man, Costello Leach was a really good match. I'm like shocked. How did Costello fight off that double leg?
I don't know.
Dude, that was so deep. I was like, well, that's match. And then he fought it off, and they go out of bounds, and he ends up getting a takedown.
Yeah.
But, man, like that was about as deep a double leg. It's like when they're like, hey, we're going to do these drills. We're going to let you get all the way in. You're going to start turning the corner, and then we're going to start the whistle from there.
Yeah, that was a good match, and Leach looked real good. And, he took a loss earlier in the year. Probably one of those that he'll get back, but at the same time, wrestled real well this weekend. It's a good win over Russell, good win over Crisp, and then a real good match with Costello. So I don't know where.
Costello's pretty good on top because he's 7 foot tall.
Yeah.
7 foot with his hair, man.
Yeah.
The guy's got some hair going.
And he got his 100th win in the semifinals. So
yeah,
congrats to him. I didn't know they could count to 100 in Bricky Nation, but he must be an advanced student.
I think there was some pretty good grade point average. I think he was one of them.
Nice. That's
good. He's pretty good on top too.
Yeah.
He's definitely gonna make you earn it.
Yeah, and I know Garrett. They weren't gonna go on bottom with him, so which is a smart move. They're good on their feet, and
4.3. I told you. I knew he was one of
them. Tony doesn't like my Hobart.
Hey man, I forgot you're coming out my nephew right now.
So 190. Now we can go to 190. That was a Thomas Panola. He's likes to wrestle hard, and some good matches for him. He made finals, beat Kenneth Bisping, who is
man. That was one too. I thought was kind of it was a close match. It was a really good match. 4-4. That takedown to near fall on the line right there. I mean, I thought Bisping was kind of rolling through for as many takedowns. And I'm not criticizing the refs. I wasn't up on it. I actually haven't even gone back and watched it yet. But I thought that was one of those ones. I thought that was a quick. When they give the 2 near fall, I was pretty surprised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, that was a real good match. Bisping's looking pretty good. He beat Donovan Blair in the semis, 6-1. Panola over Colt. The top 3 here was pretty tough, and then just a lot of guys that were all pretty even. Probably, I'd say there's probably a lot of ticket rounders, if not some state qualifiers past that top 3. But
man, I thought I thought Austin Reed wrestled really well. I was really actually of all the CP guys walking away, I thought that was a guy I was that I could see him getting a medal. I think he made a pretty big jump in the state rankings before Panola wrestled Bisping in the finals. That was Panola's closest match, 11-6. Mm-hmm. Then he went on the backside and went fall 45, fall 42, beat Blair 3-2. Who I believe Blair beat. He beat White last year for a ticket at East Chicago, and then he won 4-2.
Yeah, he had a good day. Miller was 3rd. Keith Miller. Blair was 5th, and then Mendez was 4th or 6th, and then Dunning and McMahon. So yeah, real wide open weight class pass was top 3, and you gotta get after it, and that's what obviously Reading did. I didn't realize he wrestled all the way back for 3rd there. So
yeah, I was actually really impressed with him. Mm-hmm. I know he was a guy that I've heard about through the time. I know he's a Triple Crown winner, but seeing him compete, he was pretty impressive.
Yeah. So
now 215. Here we go, Joe.
Yep, here we go. 215, another good weight class. McConnell dropped out late. Kind of would have been a little bit better, but still, there's some fireworks and there's some good matches. What do we want to talk? What do we want to talk about first here?
Let's start at the back part of the round and let's go from there.
So
Will Clark's cruising. 12-second fall, 46-second fall, 27-second fall, and then gets to and Weigard fall, major decision on McClelland, and then they meet up. And what we know about Jackson Weigard is he's incredibly difficult to wrestle. He makes people that are really good get into some weird, bad positions. And that's something that we had talked to Cameron about before. I know he's a former semi-state champ. former medalist. Will get a takedown, cuts him. Weingart gets a takedown. So it's 3-2 after the first. Weingart gets a escape, and then he gets another takedown. So now Will's losing at that point, what, 6-2?
Yeah.
And has to come back from there. Then that match, those dudes left it out there for sure.
Yeah.
He gets the final takedown with 13 seconds left.
Yeah, it was. Got stalling. They chose neutral. Weingart chose neutral. Probably a fairly smart move. Got dinged for stalling. Got taken down to a near fall with 30 seconds to go.
I thought he was gonna pin him there. He kind of had like a cradle.
Yeah.
Well, Joe's in here. Did Will say he's pretty strong?
Yeah. Got then Will let him up with 25 seconds to go, so he's down 1, and got to take down 13 seconds, and they both just left it on the mat. Two freak athletes, number one, and Weingart's, hey, man, he wrestles like that. Come state series, it's gonna be. I'd love to see that rematch under the lights right there of those two.
But there's a little bit more. That's it. So then on the other side, Keegan Martin over Devin Kendricks. I think Devin Kendricks had him beat a couple times, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they've wrestled a couple times. So yeah, Martin. That was a good win for Martin. Belmont got a finalist there. That's always good.
Clark 9-2 in the finals. So you go on the backside. So Weingart comes off that match, and then he wrestles Cameron Kaufman, who's severely underrated because I don't even think I had him in the rankings. I had him in semi-state rankings low. He's big and strong, and he throws people, and he is pretty good. He went out there and pinned Weingart. Beat Kendricks in the third and fourth place match.
Yeah.
Definitely impressed with Cameron Kaufman.
Yeah, beat two guys with state medals that on Saturday. That's pretty impressive, I'd say. Got majored by Martin early. I just seen who he lost to on the front side, but yeah, that's pretty good. And then Weingart got 5th, Kendricks 4th, Aiden the Bad 7th, and Malachi Evans. Looks like
random Penn kid that comes out of nowhere and just makes a run to the medals.
Yeah, this looks like Joe Caprino back in the day. Or actually,
wrestling underweight, but you couldn't tell if you looked at him that dude was 20 pounds less than those guys.
Yeah. So yeah, great weight class and some. It's always good to that's why a team like Warsaw goes there. That's a breakout tournament for Kaufman, and he's obviously gonna jump pretty high into the rankings. And
yeah, I think he was a backup heavyweight last year. His heavyweight, they had another kid like Isaac Bean that I kind of thought he was holding a spot for. I think that's his spot now.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
You'll get third at Al Smith and get pulled out of the lineup.
No, he's pretty good. So,
yeah, good weight class and fireworks. Check out there's some pictures of the aftermath of that 215 match, and it was pretty good. It was pretty cool, and it was just like, wow, he's up 6-2, and then like Clark's gotta get on his horse, and he ended up doing what he needed to do. So
and good job by the coaches. They didn't panic, and I'm sure that he doesn't. I mean, I'd be willing to bet he hasn't lost in Indiana in a while.
Yeah.
He lost in Indiana at the Carnahan, but to an Indiana guy, it's probably been a while.
So 285, Paul Clark, a little less dramatic. Obviously, Will must be the drama queen of the twins. Yeah, 4 pins.
Paul looked really good. Good win in the finals. Man, Nate Johnson, world class mullet. That thing's on point.
Yes. That is definitely a nice mullet.
I know, and we've talked about this last show, the show before. And Center Grove legitimately has probably 2 top 5 heavyweights in their room.
Yeah. And
I think we talked about last week. We're like, oh man, maybe Nate Johnson could make 215. Nah, that's not happening. He's huge.
Yeah.
I think If he makes 215, it's because he lost a leg or an arm or something.
Where did the weights are in there? Where did he weigh? He
Yeah,
weighed
he was
270. He ain't cutting 50 pounds. I'm gonna go on a limb.
Yeah, oh man, I don't know. Nate Johnson's is long. It's got the right amount of like blonde and curl in it. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I know he's
He
been
just looks
cultivating.
like a normal Hobart person.
Then Paul ended up pinning him. It'll be interesting to see what the decision for Center Grove is at Team State if Crown Point and Center Grove both advance first round. Who do you throw out there to wrestle Paul?
Yeah.
I think if I was looking at it, I think Johnson has a chance to win, right? Because he's a home run guy. He's gonna swing for the fences, and sometimes he's gonna hit them.
Yeah.
And Shot's a little bit more reserved. He's gonna pull out some tight matches. But I mean, Paul, like, bonus points are gonna be huge there. Paul with the 240 pin in the championship. Johnson beat last year's runner-up 5-0, and then a couple sub 30-second pins.
Yeah.
30, 29, 27, 17. Ethan Dotson's a big boy. The general's been saying that. General Heavy Hands has been saying we're sleeping on Ethan Dotson. That's a large kid.
Yeah. He's pretty big. And yeah, Clark over Jose Smith, 11-3 or 18-6. Sorry, majored him.
Jose Smith. Joe said it, and I was like, maybe. Now he leaned out. He looked like he leaned out pretty good.
Yeah,
looked a little bit more athletic.
He weighed 243. So he's also a little bit of his but he still moves pretty good, did pretty well. I think what he ended up fifth, lost to Dodson in the Conti semis. Poppy does not have he doesn't quite have the mustache power this year, so I think he needs to regrow that.
He's gonna need that mustache for state run.
Yeah, I mean, to make a deep state run. Luke Juris was 5th, Ridifus 7th, and then Brody Brown from Penn was 8th. So
is Moss that tall now? I didn't think Moss was that big last year. Is Isaac Moss 6'6"?
Wow, that's a big heavyweight.
That's the kid that sat by us at state, right?
Yeah, Isaac Moss. Let's see. I mean,
I don't remember looking at him like that. Maybe. I bet Dotson. How tall is Dotson? I bet Dotson's 6'6".
Yeah, he's pretty tall. Let's see. His bio on Max Prep says 6'4". So he's so tall.
Oh, okay, Brandon. I see you telling tall tales.
So I don't know how accurate it is, but obviously he's going to be pretty tall. Let's see what's his huddle say. His huddle says 6'4", 245. So confirmed.
That's
so he's pretty tall.
Dotson? Or?
Yeah. Moss.
Dotson, they said he's going to go to Air Force Academy, right?
Yes.
Dotson, they said 6'4", too.
Okay.
Maybe I just need to get closer to these guys, man. Maybe he's no Shakir Carr from South Bend Clay back in the day.
So that's the Al Smith. Just a great tournament. Obviously, they're always looking to improve it. Probably going to be a couple cuts. That'll be interesting to see what teams get in. If you're interested, contact Mr. Sandifer. If you have a really good team, contact him.
I think the only thing I would say like early on was there was a good amount of forfeits.
Yeah.
And they're having forfeits reports to the mat, which, I'm wasting my vocalizer on forfeit calls.
Yeah. They just need to call them all. The one time, I want to say one time they just called them all to one. All forfeits go to one mat, and they got them all. I don't know what the rule is of do you have to have your hand raised or what? Just run them through.
Well, I felt bad because like some of them they're only putting the mats assigned like three ahead or 2 ahead.
Yeah.
And like get like forfeit, and then like match. Hey, you're up right now. You know.
You're almost skipping too because you're like. Because I was right there when you were saying that. I was like, you're at like 120, and you're getting 3 forfeits, and now it's all over like because the other matches are all assigned, you're getting like a 132-pound match. So kids are getting
Yeah.
called way quicker than they should. I mean, it's one of those things that definitely would like to have a few less forfeits.
I know we've kicked around a couple ideas in our group text of who we would want to go and see. Hold on. Sorry, I gotta grab a water. My voice is still a little bit parched, guys. A little bit. A lot of talking. The first year, I said, man, I talk a lot. But, man, like, I felt like the finals, I was trying to get amped up. My voice got all tore up.
We're going to take a brief intermission.
Tell them who you want to bring in, man.
Yeah, who do we want to bring in? Man. Let's see. Let's go over the rankings. The rankings are the easiest way to go through who's in and who's out. Brownsburg would be a good one. Not confident that they'd go in there just because of who they see during the season. They already see Crown Point a couple times. Center Grove. Avon would be. I think Avon's a big one. Got to call them up. Mater Dei. They're probably not going to unhost their tournament. Warren Central's there. Perry Meridian. They were there for a year, and I think they like going to Evansville. They go to Evansville, so it's going to be hard to pull them from there. Either way, they get to see a lot of good competition. There's a lot of indie area competition at Al Smith, so likely they probably wouldn't move. Terre Haute South would be a good one. I think where Terre Haute South was at
Mooresville.
So they're consistently pretty good at 3A, so that'd be a good one to pull in, especially because that's an area that we don't see a lot, but they don't see a lot of northern wrestling. So it's always good to see. I would definitely emphasize somewhere in the Evansville semi-state, so you can never have that too many of those teams. New Pal.
Yeah.
New Pal's on my list of like, hey, they have a lot of young studs. I would love to see them there. So
and then they're building a nice rivalry with Hobart for the like, smaller or mid class like elementary. They've been going back and forth. I'd love to see New Pal there.
Yeah.
New Prairie, I think. Did you say New Prairie?
No, I have not. I'm just going through the rankings. Floyd Central. I know they're not afraid to travel. I don't know if they'd come up, but they always have Sisson and group. I'm sure if they inquired, they would probably get in. They always have good kids, and they aren't anywhere. Franklin, they go down south. I don't know what. I mean, they're going to be pretty good for a while. I don't know.
I think they're going to turn the corner too. I think they have some really good younger guys coming up.
Yeah, and so they might want to see some of the other teams there. I don't know. I mean, they go to Evansville, which is a good event, especially if you don't see a lot of those Evansville teams. There's a lot of Evansville teams there, so it's still a good event. Definitely, I mean, you're gonna have to rate a different event most likely. So, unfortunately, I don't want to totally deplete the Evansville Mater Dei Classic. So, Coach Schaefer, don't be mad at me, but one you mentioned on the air the other night, Adam Central would be a good pickup.
Oh yeah,
I think
that was on the Dane and Rex show without Rex with Joe and Mike.
The better looking replacement, as I like to call it.
Okay.
Yeah, Adam Central.
I heard that was the highest rated show of the year, so I mean that's crazy.
Yeah, interesting. They're just like Prairie Heights. Prairie Heights has been at the Al Smith for a long time. They're a good small school program. Pretty much a full lineup every year. Always going to have some studs, and it's always good for those studs to get pushed. And there's still enough fluff there's still enough fluff there that on the backside, your weaker kids are going to get pushed and get some wins, and they might make it to the blood round, and that's good for them. And wrestling in a tournament like that, I don't know. They've never really been a holiday tournament team, so I don't know what their thinking is, but I'm sure if they inquire, they'd be high on the list. So
yeah, I think like one, you don't want to see less forfeits. That's tough. I mean, you just never know. I guess you don't know year to year how it's gonna go. But you're right. Like there's matches on the backside. Like I think everyone looks at the top percent of that. And they're like, well, You know, I know someone said Brownsburg. I don't know if Brownsburg's going to go there. I think they see Crown Point and Center Grove a good amount now. I mean, what, you want to see Crown Point every week?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to see Iron Man, you're going to see him at Carnahan, you're going to see him at Team State. You want to add one more in there?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's the right fit, but you know, you look for teams that have some high end guys. I think New Prairie is going to be pretty good. I'd like to have seen you know, Hyvert in the mix with Courtney and Arbery.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would have been pretty exciting. I know that's kind of been the topic on the board, 144. And then I like a team like Heritage Hills, possibly, who I think has some really big, some really good big guys. Jet Goldsberry and those guys. I know they're at the Cub Classic. No disrespect, Dustin, second best announcer in the game.
Wow.
But I think that those guys have a good young squad. I try to look at like some of the stuff that's gonna be like, I don't want it to be like a one and done. I don't want to say, hey, let's bring whoever for 1 year, then have them fade out. I try to see like, okay, who's wrestling elementary school, you know, who's wrestling, you know, middle school state, who's gonna have those teams. And now, can it always change? It can always change. That's why I think like Avon's a good one. Like, obviously Avon has a lot of really good guys coming up. They have guys that are really good there. And I made the joke on IndianaMat's forum, like, because Avon and Mater Dei are wrestling first match at Team State, and it's one of those things like, man, how many times is, you know, John's going to go see Mater Dei?
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Yeah, going down there, New Pow, I just said on the rankings, Greenfield Central, they'd be they're a solid team, top to bottom.
Not afraid to get matches.
Yeah, they're not afraid of tough wrestling. They are
no, Coach Holden, you know, just say, you know what, let's make it official, make it one of the toughest schedules.
Yeah, and then Delta, as Neil said, I think Delta would be a good pick up there. They're good and they're young. They have some super hammers. They go to Mooresville. You know, if they'd be interested, I know, and I'm pretty certain, you know, their type of team. They're you know, they have the hammers. They have some good solid kids. That'd be a great pickup. You know, it's you know, it's in the coach's hands of what they want to do. You know, like you said, New Prairie has some, you know, they used to be in it about 12, 15 years ago. They got out to get into some duels, and, you know, it's one of those things that as a coach, you try to figure out your schedule for the type of kids you have coming in, and it might be time for them to get back in there to get that competition. There's another team I was just going to say just a second ago. That Rochester would be a good one. They have some good young kids. I know they've been in the past, and, you know, I'd love to see them there the past couple of years. You know, the kids want to go there, the parents want to go there, and, you know, I've talked to a lot of their parents and stuff, and like, man, that'd be great for my kid. My kid wants to wrestle here, you know. It's a prestigious event and stuff. So
now that they're in Chicago, you want to kind of see. I mean, there's a good representation of East Chicago semi-state there.
Yeah.
You know, if you're, you know, Lane Horn, wouldn't you want to go see Landon Hawkins and those guys before possible semi-state?
Yeah.
Or, you know, if you're, you know, back, wouldn't you want to see Paul Clark before the semi-state?
Yeah, I would. Just like Weingart did. Weingart got a taste of it, said, hey, you know what? I know what I need to work on. And probably gave him, even though he lost that match, he probably gives him a little bit of confidence if he sees him later on. So, yeah, there's a lot of teams that you can go in there and look at that, if they're interested, would.
Joe, you can't say that, Joe, because you know what everyone's thinking right now? It's going to be a CP singlet. You guys already got a 26. Stop it.
So, yeah, that would, you know, I know they're going to probably have some turnover, it sounds like. So, you know, if you're looking for a good event to get your team into, to get tested, and, you know, not only that, you have a great announcer, great seating meeting. I mean, what more can you ask for?
They had food trucks there.
Yeah, they had some good food trucks. Man, that carne asada pizza I had was pretty good. I'll have to say that much.
Yeah, I think it looked pretty good. I mean, I didn't get offered a bite, but
You had a good sloppy Joe and out and Mr.
yeah,
Sloppy Joe.
they brought it right out to me, man. Like, hey, man, I love those guys. Those guys gave me a great opportunity. Dude, they're awesome.
Yeah,
Everyone there's so nice. Steve's one of the best, man.
yeah,
Um, and I think that was his goal coming back. Is I think he really wanted to turn into like one of the toughest tournaments in the state, and I think he has.
yeah. He's. I mean, it's always been a tough tournament, and then he's kind of turned it up about 3 or 4 notches. And it's like every couple of years when he kind of does the turnover, and it's like, whoa, you're breaking. It's like, geez. I didn't think you could make it any tougher, but then you're just adding in, like, they brought in, like, I want to say Wallace C., who's going to have some good kids. Warren, I can't remember who else. They brought in, like, 3 teams the last.
I know, like, when Western was there last year, they're like, man, we need this. This is what we want. Like, and dude, that's awesome. They did not do a spotlight for the finals.
No. Yeah, amazingly, you can crown champions without a spotlight, but
it's they do the 3 finals at the same time. And I mean, I like it that way because, man, we got out of there at a decent time.
Yeah. Got home for dinner and tried to fix the website that was broken. Did get it fixed, if you didn't notice.
Yeah.
That was painful, not feeling good, running on lack of sleep, and, trying to figure out the website and got it back up. So, sorry for the issues. But as a service, we want to make sure everyone spends time with their families after a good long 2 days in the gym. So all wives and kids should thank me, please.
Now that was giving us the most hate mail.
Yeah.
Now we have to go hang out with these guys.
Yeah. So, man, we haven't even started on team state.
We do another day. I mean, I don't know what your schedule looks like. I'm pretty open this week.
You want to do Thursday?
Yeah, let's do Thursday.
Okay, because I'm doing tomorrow actually. I haven't totally announced it, but Razzo and I are going to do a girls semi-state preview. So he's going to do a lot of talking. I'm going to nod my head and say, I know that girl's really good. I don't know anything about the other girls, so we're gonna
shout out to our girl Kylie Spencer, regional runner-up, going to semi-state. So she's gonna miss one of our softball tournaments to go. I got our schedule. Hey, remember I was telling you? So I'm gonna go to Mount Carmel and Crown Point in Chicago. Our first game at Finch Creek in Noblesville, 4:40 a.m.
Jeez.
So that's when we try to play our best softball.
Nice. Yeah, I gotta figure that out. I want to go. I mean, yeah, I'll probably miss opening ceremonies at Cubs convention again, but that's gonna be a fire duel. That's hard to miss, especially I'm only gonna be. I don't even know where. I know. Let's see, where's the Cubs convention gonna be at? I know it's only a couple miles, but so I'm gonna be a lot closer. So. Let's see, Sheraton Grand, Chicago. So I'm already going to be in Chicago, so I won't be too far from from Mount Carmel. So I'll probably have to meet.
Yeah, that's going to be. We're going back to Mount Carmel. The last time I was there, it was pretty rowdy atmosphere.
Yeah, rowdy's an understatement. Carmel.
It was definitely an event. I think there were some limos being taken there, some party buses. The student body showed up pretty strong. It was definitely an intense duel.
Yeah, it is about 10 miles away, so just 10 miles north.
Oh, so it's only an hour and 15 minutes city driving.
Yeah, yes. So,
I did that to my brother one time. I wanted to go to this taco place on Diner Drive. I said, Tony, it's 8 miles away, man. 45 minutes later.
And it was close. No. So, yeah, at least I'm planning on right now going. If not, I'll send you I'll drop the equipment off, and you and somebody else, Nick, and maybe your brother. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We got a week and a half to decide what I'm doing.
Yeah, we'll grab someone out. We'll grab someone at the stands.
Yeah.
Guest commentator.
Yeah. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people there. I'm sure they could do it. So we'll figure that out next week. I'm not in any rush. This is, next few weeks. I can actually after the Cubs convention, life will settle down a little bit. Get a week off, and then sectional starts up, and
Yeah, I get to play in Noblesville, then Iowa, back-to-back weekends. So
Oh, nice.
get to go. And the last time, 2 times ago during the COVID year, they had like a big wrestling tournament there. So I was like, "Oh, did you see Dan Gable was there?" I did not.
Nice. So, yeah, we'll go Thursday. We'll actually go tomorrow. So we're gonna rack up these numbers. We're gonna be up to 66 after this week. 166.
I know.
So, yeah, no. Al Smith, just a great week of wrestling. Not only just Al Smith. I know that's kind of where we put a lot of our focus, but that's because we're there. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of great wrestling throughout the state. There's probably at least half the teams were wrestling throughout the state the last week, and some good matches and some good rankings matches. So rankings, you said, were probably fairly close. Probably
They're pretty close. Yeah, I try to let those last amount of results kind of trickle in, so I don't want to put them out and then have to change them right away. But there's been some changes. There's been some new number ones.
Yeah, we're gonna have 3 or 4 new. We can go over those ones. Those are. Those are pretty easy to go over since they lost. Head to heads, and hey, that's how it works. And that's why we have as we said earlier, rankings are pretty fluid.
Yeah, we go over the top. Jensen Boydus won at 106. He didn't lose, didn't change. Revan Dickman still number 1. Dickman pretty tough. Rios still number 2.
Yep.
Those guys will probably have a nice little series. Gavin Gendris going to be new number 1 at 120 pounds. I think very, very, deserving of that.
Yeah, he earned it. All these guys that are the new number 1s definitely have earned it. Got Schaefer, Hockaday.
Yep, Hockaday.
Then Shepard will be number 1 at 138.
Clinton Shepard, you're number 1 at 138. Beat number 2, 3, and 5. Tony Wood's still going to be in the mix.
And then, let's see.
Reese Courtney will still be 1.
Yeah, so Center Grove, Warren Central. First, I had to double check. Courtney, Cresia, Bo Brabender will be new number 1 at 57. Had another. So he beat the guy who beat the number 1. Had a good tournament.
Reinhardt held on to his number 1, defended his number 1 seed.
Yep, and then Aiden Costello.
Yep.
So yeah, we will have 4 new number 1s. So not bad.
Not too bad.
It's always good to have some turnover there, and obviously means there's going to be some good wrestling at the state series when you have guys that close, and those guys that are number 1 are going to want to get that spot back. So, you're going to have a Center Grove Warren Central match, so there could be some good matches there, and Crown Point, Center Grove, some matches in there. You could definitely have Goss. Who's there? I always get their 20s and 26s.
We could have Charlie LaRocca, and Chris,
and Gendris potentially. So
yeah, you'll have Arbery and Courtney again, which was overtime match. It's game of adjustments too.
Potential to have a lot of 1s and 2s at 4A. So we'll go over that Thursday. Full team state dedicated show. Too good of an event to not give a full dedication to, and
with that tournaments, the holiday tournaments, we're going to take a lot, and team state's a huge thing. You kind of go back and listen to the draw and the WZBD Haggard, Hershey, and Zelt Funeral Home presents High School Wrestling Weekly with Joe.
Yep.
Rex and Dane?
Yeah, I was running the graphics, I guess, is what you want to call it. We were in not Dane's basement, Rex's basement. And yeah, it was. Are you auditioning for to take over for Rex's job there? You're getting,
I'm getting good at it.
You're getting that pretty.
I was waiting too when we were on the show. I was waiting for Dane to give me the read back in. I was like, let's go, let's do it.
Yeah, no, that's
And
a
shout
good
out to
time.
Mishawaka High School for not making me read the long read. We condensed it down. Saints, bro. Saints.
Yeah, yeah,
If someone was taking a shot at Calumet High School and they're reading, I'll take it because, man, I'm sweating sometimes.
no, I mean, I saw that. I'm like, man, that's a lot to read, and I was there. One of the best parts about Al Smith is seeing Al there, and he's just yelling at the kids, like yelling at
Oh, man,
he's still coaching. You can't take it out of him.
he loves. Dude, he was hyped for Bo Broadbender. He gets hyped for all the Mishawaka guys, the Penn guys too.
Yeah.
I don't think that rivalry is as heated as I thought it was. I think those guys are actually friends, except for Vargo wanting to get a fall for Czar.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, no, it's kind of cool to see. I mean, he's still. I'm pretty certain he still wanders into the wrestling room quite often, from what it looks like. And that's always cool. He can't take the coach out of a guy, and great guy, and definitely had a vision for the tournament, and it's become such a great event. And he sits up there and just yells at the wrestlers, and can't. It's pretty cool to see. And he just,
Yeah.
I was going to the restroom when he was walking in, like, oh yeah. He's like trying to pay to get in, and they're like, "No, this tournament's named after you, dude."
Yeah.
He's like, "No." So I'm trying to get it paid into. I'm gonna say this: if I have a tournament ever named after me, which I don't think there'll ever be, but I
don't want to tournament named after.
I'm trying to pay. I'm probably that's not a good thing.
Man, I don't want a tournament named after me because if it's like super bad, I'll be feeling terrible.
Yes, I know. That's why I feel. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. We have enough tournaments named after people. We don't need any more. So
Shout out to the guy, Al. Al did the national anthem again.
Al Dover, yeah,
He's a good singer.
yeah, and did it through the mic backfire. That was pretty loud, and
Yeah, I felt bad. I think I told him, I was like, well, I'll turn my mic off. We won't get any feedback. It'll be fine. Boy, did I lie to him.
yeah,
Pro. He's a pro, though.
yeah. No, I was like, man, how he kept going without like hearing that, and because that was piercing. I was like, woo. So, but yeah, great tournament, and it's always fun to see the everyone there and walk around, and I got to walk around and talk to people.
I did not. And my hip's feeling it now, man. I'm sore. Sitting and yelling the whole time and talking, not easy. It looks easy, guys. It's not easy.
Yeah, you need to take some breaks to go walk around and hobnob. You need to get an hour break here and there. And where's Mike? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's all run on track. They don't need. I mean, you don't need an announcer all the time.
I got yelled at one time for not telling someone they're in the hole. So.
Oh, jeez. So, anyway, well, we'll let you guys go, and we'll be back Wednesday and Thursday now. So
Wednesday and Thursday this week.
Yep. So we will be back, and we'll see you guys later.